Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy of doing my first clip in English. So I beg your forgiveness if it isn't up to your standard. But I wanted to start a series of clips in English to share my passion for classical music and opera. All this year, I've been making clips in Spanish about Camille Saint-Saëns, the great romantic composer. We are commemorating 100 years of his passing in 1921. I think he's a great figure, a great composer. So this year we have the opportunity to encounter his work. And for today, I want to start with Saint-Saëns' Second Symphony. In this case, Symphony No.2 was composed in 1859. Saint-Saëns previously had composed two symphonies without number and number one in the historical sense. But this second symphony, it's a wonderful work. It's full of interesting details. For example, we have a fugue in the first movement. Saint-Saëns was pretty happy with this idea, and I think that it works pretty well. This first movement also has some antiphon-like moments, like tiny parts of cadences we find in church music, and we should not forget that this symphony was composed when Saint-Saëns was the principal organist at La Madeleine church in Paris. So the most important church in Paris. And in 1859, he was one of the greatest organists, not of France, of all the world. So this symphony shares with us this type of ambience, perhaps, that we can find in these magnificent churches of Paris. But also, we also listen to Saint-Saëns, the composer, with the classical affinity, the neoclassical affinity. And in this sense, we can really understand how the Saint-Saëns sound started to evolve. Although Saint-Saëns is a romantic composer, we can find many aspects of classical affinity and Baroque too in his music. And that's a pretty good point we have to take into consideration when we listen to his music. So the second movement of this symphony, it's pretty classic. It's almost like a slow minuet. The third movement, it's a lively scherzo with bizarre aspects of timing, and also with a pretty, I should say, uncharacteristic structure, because in the scherzo, usually we have three parts. One part A, one B part, central, and a closing part that is almost always a copy of the first, of the A part. But in this case, Saint-Saëns doesn't add repetition of this first part, and we have a little coda. And then we have the fourth movement, that is a tarantella. Saint-Saëns had some affection for this type of form, a dance that comes from Italy, used by many composers like Felix Mendelssohn and, of course, Gioacchino Rossini. And it seems that for Saint-Saëns, it was also a reminiscence of a composer he admired. Let's remember that Saint-Saëns played in Rossini's house as a pianist in many of the parties of Rossini, or soirée rossinienne. So in this case, we have a magnificent symphony, classically proportioned. In 25 minutes, it is finished, but it's a wonderful piece. And Saint-Saëns conducted it many times during his life. He was fond of this piece. So let's see what you think about it. And I recommend you this particular recording. It's a magnificent recording with the Orchestre National de la Radio Française, conducted by Jean Martineau, one of the great French conductors of the 20th century. It was originally made for EMI, or EMI, as you say in English. So I hope it's a good start of enjoying the music of Camille Saint-Saëns. Ciao, bye, hasta pronto.